after studying this module, you shall be able to explain the concept of international business and its environment. We would also be able to learn to identify the reasons for expansion of international business. We would be able to differentiate between domestic and international business and analyze how business activities can be managed in the era of globalization. International business is a term used to describe the topics related to the operations of the firm with interests in various countries. Such firms are sometimes called multinational corporations. Well-known multinational companies include fast food companies like McDonald's, vehicle manufacturers such as General Motors, consumer electronic components like Samsung, LG, and energy companies such as ExxonMobil and BP. Most of the largest corporations operate in multiple national markets. International business means the buying and selling of the goods and services across the border. These business activities may be of government or private enterprises. Here, the national border are crossed by the enterprises to expand their business activities like manufacturing, mining, construction, agriculture, banking, insurance, health, education, transportation, communication, and so on. International business has been playing a crucial role for centuries. The world we share is becoming increasingly interconnected in complex and interesting ways. From the history of international business, we learn that present-day global companies characterized by explosive growth and closer central control of foreign operations are markedly different from their predecessors. Markets have become truly global for most goods, many services, and especially for financial instruments of all types. Even the largest and most apparently self-contained economies, including US, are now significantly affected by global economy. Global integration in trade, investment, and factor flows, technology, and communication has been tying economies together. In this text, it will be clear that all managers need to have a basic knowledge of international business to be able to meet the challenge of global competition. A business enterprise who goes for international business has to take a very wide and long view before making any decision. It has to refer to social, political, historical, cultural, geographical, physical, ecological, and economic aspects of another country where it had to do business. Areas of study within international business include differences in legal systems, political systems, economic policy, language, accounting standards, labor standards, living standards, environmental standards, local culture, corporate culture, foreign exchange, tariffs, import and export regulations, trade agreements, climate, education, and many more. Each of these aspects requires significant changes in how individual business units operate from one country to the next. With different business and legal cultures and practices across the world, small firms need help to export on terms and conditions which they and their foreign partners basically understand. Most cannot afford lawyers, nor can they afford to isolate themselves from international trade. So perceptions about globalization and its effects vary and have gone through a definite cycle in the past 10 years or so. The upswing of the cycle occurred in the first half of the 1990s, a period characterized by a highly optimistic mood in industrialized countries. The economic mood in the industrialized world also changed, contributing to an evaporation of the earlier optimism. The prolonged boom in the US economy ended in 2001 with the collapse of technology stocks and the downturn in economic activity. As unemployment began to increase in the industrialized world, there was a backlash against globalization in the industrialized countries, and slogans of fair trade became common currency. The political mood also changed as the triumphalization associated with the end of history gave way by the end of 1990s to worries about terrorism as a new and shadowy threat to democratic and open societies everywhere. These concerns were greatly magnified by the terrorist attacks of September 2001 in the United States. Given this extreme swing in the perception in the world at large, it is not surprising that the average man or woman in India is plagued by doubts about the nature of globalization, what impact it will have on ordinary people, and what it implies for our policies. Before turning to these issues, we would like to emphasize that the issue is not whether one is for or against globalization. Globalization is not a specific policy or even a defined set of policies that one can be for or against. Rather, it is a process taking place in the world around us, driven by international developments which are largely outside our control. Globalization has undoubtedly created a totally different external environment, and we must try to choose policies which enable us to drive the maximum benefits from it. It does not mean that dealing with the global environment must be the only or even the central focus of development policy. It will be better able to cope up with globalization if the country has a strong economy. That is why the National Common Minimum Program has outlined a broad objective of achieving 7 to 8% growth per annum. It will be our endeavor in the Planning Commission to speak out the implications of achieving the goal. Today, there is hardly any country which is not engaged in international trade. The economies of certain small countries are dependent mainly on international trade. Here, a genuine question arises as to why two countries enter into international trade. There are a number of factors which contribute to the development of foreign trade. Most important among them are natural resources and geographical factors. Each country differs in natural resources and geographical distribution of various factors of production. Diversities in natural and geographical distribution of various factors of production. Diversities in natural and geographical conditions make a country more efficient in the production of one commodity and another country in some other commodity. These countries specialize themselves in the production of such commodities and supply them to other countries in exchange for the commodities which they do not produce, but other countries have a specialization in their production. For example, because of favorable natural conditions, India and Sri Lanka taken together produce a significant portion of the world total production of tea. Mica in India, manganese in Russia, and oil in Arab countries are a few examples of this kind of specialization. The second reason could be the occupational distribution. The population and its occupational distribution also differs from country to country. Occupational structure of its population decides the field of specialization. For example, a large part of India's population is engaged in agriculture. Hence, it has specialized in the production of food grains and other agricultural products. England, on the other hand, has specialized itself in the production of industrial goods as it has abundance of capital and scarcity of land, and a large part of its population is engaged in industries. Thus, countries specialize themselves on the basis of their occupations. Specialization gives birth to international trade. The third obvious reason for international trade is the means of transport. Means and cost of transportation also contribute to the international trade. Industries using weight losing raw material are generally localized at places near to the raw material because the transport costs is the deciding factor. The countries where such raw materials are found in abundance get specialized in their end product. For example, India is a large producer of sugar cane and therefore sugar industry is located mainly in India. At international level, the factors of production are not freely movable because they involve high cost of transportation. Other countries therefore cannot set up sugar industries and shall make imports of sugar from India and other sugar producing countries. We also have another reason for this trade, which is large scale production. So large scale production of a commodity gives many advantages of scale. The industry of such a commodity can produce it at a lower cost because of scale economies and specialization. After meeting the demand for the commodity in the national market, the surplus can easily be exported at a price fetching handsome profits to the industry. For example, an industrial unit producing locomotive engines for the Indian Railways can specialize itself in the production of locomotives. Large-scale production of locomotives may enable the unit to export them to neighboring countries. We also have fifth reason, which is differences in costs. Production costs of a commodity differ from country to country due to number of factors. For example, it is due to availability of natural resources and geographical conditions as stated earlier. It is due to occupational structure. It is due to large-scale production and also due to developments in the field of science and technology, etc. Countries having favorable conditions can produce the commodities at a lower costs and other countries at higher costs. Higher domestic costs of production shall encourage the import of that commodity into the country and lower cost items may be exported. We also have the sixth reason, which is the degree of self-sufficiency. No country of the world is self-sufficient. The degree of self-sufficiency, however, differs from country to country. The countries which cannot produce at all or can produce only at a very high cost arrange the supply of such goods through imports of other countries. Let us now look at the concept of international business and its environment. International business refers to all commercial transactions beyond national boundaries, and all business activities occur between two or more regions, countries, or nations. Business transactions include activities related to private and governmental sales, technology, skilled labor, investments, logistics, and transportation. The main aim behind undertaking these activities is profit from the perspective of private companies, and government undertakes these for profit as well as for political reasons. In other words, we can say international business not only includes international trade of goods and services, but also foreign investment, especially foreign direct investment. At the end of the definitional spectrum, international business is defined as organization that buys and or sells goods and services across two or more national boundaries, even if management is located in a single country. At the other end of the spectrum, international business is equated only with those big enterprises which have operating units outside their own country. International business is also known as global business. International business differs from domestic business in that a firm operating across borders must deal with the forces of three kinds of environment: domestic, foreign, and international. So, international business environment includes microenvironment, which consists of the factors that lie in the immediate environment of the company and affect the performance of the company. These are more linked with the company. These forces need not to affect all the firms that exist in a particular industry. Some of them might be related to a particular firm only. For example, a person may supply a particular product to a particular firm which would be entirely different from the supply source of other firm. It includes, therefore, A. the suppliers. The suppliers are those who supply the inputs like raw materials and components to the company. It is considered as an important force. Because of the sensitivity of the supply, many companies give high importance to vendor development. B. the customers. Decision on customer segment by a company should be taken in such a way that it takes care of some important factors like profitability, dependability, stability of demand, growth prospects, and the extent of competition. The third is competitors. There always exists some competition among the firms in a particular market. A firm is not only a competitor for other firms, but they also compete for the discretionary income of the consumer. For example, a firm producing a particular product, say A, faces competition not only from the other firms producing same product, but also from the manufacturers producing other products, not A. We also have the fourth category, which is market intermediaries. Firms act like an intermediary that aid the company in promoting, selling, and distributing its goods to final buyers like middlemen such as agents and merchants who help the company in identifying customers or help them in promoting sales. Let us now look at the macro environment. Macro environment consists of the larger societal forces which are more uncontrollable than micro forces that affect all the economic environment. It affects the political and legal environment, the socio-cultural environment, demographic environment, and other environments like natural environment, physical and technological environment, and international environment. What is economic environment? It consists of economic condition, economic policies, and the economic system. It influences international business decisions because these decisions vary from country to country depending on their respective economic system. For example, level of income and inflation, health of industrial, financial and other factors, fiscal and monetary policies, and so on. The political and legal environment consists of a set of laws and political factors and government activities in a foreign market that can either facilitate or hinder a business ability to conduct business activities in the foreign market. Political environment includes political ideology of government like foreign investment, tariff, foreign trade, liberalization, globalization, price controls, and political stability in the country. Let's look at the socio-cultural environment. It includes a set of beliefs, customs, practices, and behavior that exist within the population. For example, the buying and consumption habits of the people, their language, beliefs and values, customs and traditions, tastes and preferences, education, etc. For a business to be successful, its strategy should be one that is appropriate in the socio-cultural environment. Demographic environment. A demographic environment is a set of demographic factors such as gender or ethnicity. Companies use demographic environments to identify target markets for specific products or services. Marketers have to take both sides of the demographic environment coin into account when deciding what strategy to apply. The natural environment. It involves natural resources that are needed as input or that are affected by production activities. It has become a cause of concern because of the continuous demand by the consumers, like pollution level, water scarcity, use of renewable resources, etc. Let's look at the technological and physical environment. It includes introduction of new technology, creation of new product, and market opportunities. Physical factors may be defined as uncontrollable factors which should be taken care of. For instance, geographical factors, weather and climate conditions. International environment. From the point of view of certain categories of business, international environment has its own importance. Since it is directly related to import and export activities of a particular country, it is considered as a crucial factor by the industries. Section 4. Reasons for international business expansion. Every firm has a desire to expand its sales and revenue, to minimize input costs, and to have least business and financial risk. There are some other factors that have provided a favorable atmosphere to expand their activities, which are as follows. Technological improvement. Due to introduction of new technology or improved technology, business is becoming more and more global. For example, improvement in transportation and communication has played a very important role in expanding business internationally. Liberalization, which means a removal or reduction of trade barriers, and it has opened doors to foreign multinationals and allowed them to set up their organizations. It helps in easing the movement of goods and services and resources and taking advantage of international opportunities. We also have emergence of supportive institutions. There has been a huge development of supporting institutional arrangements made by business and government, which has resulted in easy flow of goods and has reduced risk to some extent. Low cost input. Labor is considered as one of the important input factors for business. In developing countries, the labor costs are low as compared to developed countries, which give incentive to developed countries to shift or diversify production activities in developing countries and consequently earn higher profit. We also have global competition. Firms always find it favorable to operate internationally due to certain reasons. A. It helps in introducing new product globally. B. Because of large scale of operation. And C. Because of international identification of domestic companies, competitors, and suppliers. Let us now quickly look at the difference between domestic and international business.
Domestic business includes all the business transactions conducted within a border of a particular nation or a commercial entity, whereas international business includes all the commercial activities conducted beyond national boundaries. International business includes import-export, licensing, and franchising, as well as foreign investments. It helps nations to gain foreign currency, whereas while doing business domestically, firms earn domestic currency only. Both domestic and international business create employment opportunities. Through international business, firms can earn higher profits than operating in domestic environment. International business provides an opportunity to firms to share latest technology worldwide. It also results in cross-border cooperation and agreements because of healthy political relations among nations.
Section 6. Managing business in the era of globalization. Globalization has become the buzzword that has changed human lives around the world in a number of ways. The growing integration of societies and national economies has been among the most fervently discussed topics during recent years. Firms in the era of globalization determine its strategies and behavior so that it can respond to environmental changes. The high degree of economic integration also poses economic and financial constraints in the path of business operations. Globalization offers challenges as well as opportunities for business enterprises. Some of them are as follows. First, the introduction of foreign companies in domestic territory raises level of competition. Second, reduction in tariffs gives way to case of market access, which enables foreign markets accessible as well as increases competition. The third, removal of trade barriers and liberal investment regime enables companies to invest everywhere and expand their business activities outside the domestic area. Fourth, it motivates integration of business operations globally. Fifth, globalization is a help in development of capabilities across the world. Sixth, managing its business across highly divergent and fast-moving markets requires a laser-like focus on execution and operational works. The companies must develop highly flexible business models that enable them to face and respond to new opportunities and threats. Next, they must make efforts to ensure a strong talent pipeline that will provide them with the skills and capabilities to thrive in constantly changing conditions and to take steps according to it. Firms can expand their scale of production by being global. In other words, they can reap the benefit of economies of scale by expanding its activities internationally. Global companies can be differentiated by their strong global position in terms of global aspects, capabilities, brands, and their relative resilience to shocks and even to business cycle. The global strategies adopted by business and enterprises may include the global conception of markets, multi-regional integration strategy, changes in external organization of multinational firms, worldwide network structures, etc. Also changes in internal organization, global outsourcing, greater transparency, and corporate governance regulations, etc. Let us now summarize in this section 7. International business refers to the conduct of business activities across national borders. We have learned that intensified competition among domestic, private, and public sector companies and multinational companies consequent upon globalization, along with strides in information technology, brought paradigm shift in the policies and practices of international business. We have learned that the recent global economic recession changed the magnitude and direction of international business and the status of some of the countries from the global leader to follower and vice versa. I am sure you would appreciate that we have also tried to understand the reasons for expanding business operations overseas, which include technological enhancement, liberalization, availability of inputs at a very low cost, existence of supportive institutions, and worldwide competition. We have also learned that international business includes much wider activities than domestic business activities. Globalization, on the other hand, offers opportunities, but on the one hand, it also puts challenges for businesses which sometimes affect the activities of the firm to great extent.